Hello! Welcome to the next Shred Showcase episode with Mike Dawes.
Hey, what's up?
Hi, Mike. How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you doing? Where in the world are you? I mean, you're in America, but like where?
I am in upstate New York, so not quite New York City, but got some nice greenery out there.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, my girlfriend lives in New York, so I've been getting further and further upstate and like snaking up and exploring, and it's a nice part of the world. I love it. Greetings from Bristol, England, where it's rainy and miserable.
Well, very nice. Great things.
Standard England.
Definitely going to try to get on over there later this year. But hello, pals, and happy New Year to you, Mike. We have some great things to chat, including the Dine Shred collab, which is like one of the primary purposes of these Shred Showcase interviews, if you will. So let's talk about the two that you used, because that's so awesome. You got to like kick off the collab with both instruments, acoustic and electric. So tell me a little bit about the guitar brands and if there's any guitar gear that you want to shout out. Oh, hopefully we didn't lose them. Hopefully not. Let me know if you guys can hear and see okay. I can see myself moving around, but Mike appears to be freezing up. So we may have to count this as a test and then reboot. Do apologize about that, but he's across the pond. Usually the across the pond folk are more prone to the glitches for some reason, but we're going to accept him again and see what's up. He's a Ghana, somebody said. Oh, there he is.
Hey, are we good?
He would join again, you guys.
I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there. It's maybe the English internet, or maybe I might have touched this and it might have hung up. I have no idea. I'm going to keep my hands away from my face. Sorry about that, Kate.
We're across the pond, so if we have any connection, or if we do have any connection issues, that's okay. We'll just reboot it. But yeah, if you didn't catch that last question, tell me about both guitars that you used on the Dine Shred collab, and if you have them, definitely show us, because
that's fun. It's funny. Neither of them I have right now. So the whole Shred collab involvement was actually a little more intense than it normally would have been, because I was actually traveling. I was on the road. So my acoustic guitar was my touring acoustic guitar, which is made by a luthier in Germany named Andreas Kuntz. It's the unfortunately spelled Andreas Kuntz, Cuntz. Real name. Doesn't sell many guitars in America, but sells loads in Germany, and it's my signature model, and you should all go and get one because they're the best acoustic guitars ever. And the electric guitar was actually borrowed from Sam Ash, the music store, right? So Ben Ash, the son of Sam Ash, is a good friend of mine, absolute legend, and I bumped into him actually at New York Comic Con of all places, and kind of got chatting with him again, and I ended up in Long Island at my girlfriend's place, and needed an electric guitar for this collab, and I was on the road. I had some days off, and he very kindly got on the phone to the Long Island Sam Ash store, and they hooked me up with this lovely Charvel, which I'm so appreciative for. They were super cool. All the staff at that Sam Ash store in Long Island, super cool, amazing. So it was borrowed gear basically, and all kind of filmed by my girlfriend in her brother's basement studio and everything. Very, very guerrilla, on the road, rough and ready, a little bit of Final Cut magic, and mixed by my good friend Casey Sable, the ex-Periphery singer Casey Sable, based in Nashville. What a legend.
That's awesome. So that's quite the story there. Definitely. I didn't know that was borrowed gear, so that's dope. They hooked you up with stuff. Nice.
Yeah, Ben's a good guy. Yeah, and that guitar was amazing. I've never played like a Charvel before, but it was so good. I mean, you actually got me out of my electric guitar kind of shell with the shred collabs we did in the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to summon my inner, Strat shred chops, which were a little dusty, but it works well with the acoustic. I think that low gain kind of Nick Johnston-y crunch tone with the acoustic guitar, I think, is a real match made in heaven. So it was nice to be able to lay that down on this collab.
Most definitely. I think it's really cool how you got to like display both tones and kind of like both sides of your instrumental brain, I guess. And yeah, tell me about the rigs that you used, because you are a very melodic player as well.
Well,
Definitely,
thank you.
yeah, very melodic, but also very technical and very, very diverse. So if there's any like gear companies that you would like to shout out, or any DAW that you
Totally. Yeah, well, the electric guitar tones, I'm pretty. I haven't used a lot of. I haven't. Let's just say I haven't published a lot of my own electric guitar playing
right,
on my catalog. So I was trying a bunch of different things, and I actually went back and forth between the Neural DSP, Pliny, and Revere plugins, and the Aurora DSP Rhino, which is a super super sick electric guitar plugin. But I was trying. It was also around Black Friday, so I just bought a bunch of gear, a bunch of plugins just to try out. So I tried a whole bunch of stuff, but I ended up coming back to the Pliny plugin, Archetype Pliny, the Neural DSP thing. So all the electric guitar tones are done on that in the end. I tried a whole bunch of different stuff, but it was just the crunch amp on that plugin. Like, I love the Neural DSP guys. Everything they've done is incredible, but out of all the gear I've tried, there's just something about that amp and my fingers that just works. I like it. It just I can speak through it. So I really recommend it. All the Neural DSP stuff's amazing, and the Quad Cortex. If I'd have had that on me, I probably would have used that as well. But it was really, as I said, a guerrilla rig. I used my laptop, the plug-in, my girlfriend's brother's studio monitors, and gear, and it was all done like that. And that's a real testament to the power of gear now, and how portable it is and how high quality it is. Because back when I was like coming up, if you wanted to sound good through an amp, you had to go and get an amp, and you had to be in the studio, and you had to mic the cab and all of this stuff. But
yeah,
it's amazing. It's amazing the stuff they're able to do. Just literally Focusrite interface, or I think it was a universal audio interface, Neural DSP Pliny, straight in. Play with the tones as much as you like, but it just sounds great out of the box. I love it.
yeah,
Yeah,
like one
recommended.
of a player. And we did get a comment. Yep, Neural DSP, Crunch Amp, Core Cortex 2. I've heard nothing but great things about the Neural DSP, which I haven't gotten like the chance to use yet, but definitely have heard nothing but swellular things.
Swellular. That's a good word. I like that.
Swellular.
Well, it's great. I mean, well, the Quad Cortex, I actually consulted with those guys when they were developing the looper element of the Quad Cortex. So I kind of actually worked on that, and there's actually a YouTube demo video that I did for them in Los Angeles. And it's like the best looper on the market as well. Like, that thing has everything. It's insane. I love it. Love those guys, and they are gonna keep continuing to just take the guitar kind of modeling, whatever it is, IR stuff to new places. Love them. They're great.
And that looper that you were mentioning, you can obviously use that for live shows too, right? Or that just like
yeah. So I don't actually use. I'm about to go out on tour. On the tour that I do, I typically take actually the Boss RC300 with me, a Super 6 looper. But that's just because I have some weird signal routing where I have like a gazillion inputs, and the Quad Cortex has like less than a gazillion inputs. But I'd love to get to the point where I can just take the Quad Cortex on the road. There's a few features they need to add, like if they could add a polyphonic octave, like the Boss OC3 into the Quad Cortex, then I reckon I could probably just do my whole rig with just that. Yeah,
and
it's awesome. I love it.
At that point. Very nice. Yeah, we have a lot of comments from around the world. Hello. I do want to say that these Shred Showcase interviews, they do happen to be a bit shorter than my regular ones. So if you guys have any questions for Mike as well, definitely drop them below. For example, we got one from Drew Bullman. He says, who are your new favorite players or bands at the moment?
Like, so when you say new favorite players, is that like stuff that's super current, or is it stuff I've just discovered, or I don't know?
Yeah, how about like one current, one OG?
Okay, well, here's like a proper shout out here. There's a lot of like new guitar players on the scene doing insanely crazy things, but I haven't actually heard a lot of new players in that kind of like metal kind of modern kind of shred world. I'm talking about electric guitar, that are actually doing it with as a melodic sensibility as honestly, like the Polyphia guys are just crushing it, and they deserve everything. Like they're so good. Like their songs are so good, and I use that word in the dictionary definition. Song, like a song, actually is supposed to tell a story and it's supposed to have lyrics. They don't typically have lyrics, but the way the melodies flow, it's something you can sing, right? You can sing, you can hum a Polyphia song when you're walking down the street. So I really want to shout them out as much as possible because they've, that they do it in a way that I'm a fan. Well, that's it. I'm a fan. I know everyone in every comment thread on any guitar video now is just like Polyphia, Polyphia, Polyphia. Like I've known those guys for a while. I've listened to those guys for a very long time, and I think they deserve everything they get. They're awesome. Go listen to them. Check them out. If you haven't, check out the new record. It's awesome.
Dude, for sure. Their new record is insane. Like if we're gonna talk about Polyphia for a second, I also love what they did with Sophia Black. Not only was
track, so it's such a great song, such a great hook, such great everything. Production, just like it's gold standard stuff, and I think it's really inspiring for all musicians to see what can be done. Another person is Billy Strings as well, like more on the acoustic end. I mean, he's the guy's doing like two sold out shows at like Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, and it's like shred acoustic guitar, bluegrass stuff, and that's awesome, and he's awesome, and so Billy Strings and Polyphia are really the gold standard right now, and I think if anyone ever hates on those people, then don't do that. No hate, they're awesome.
Yeah. I don't think I've even come across a person that isn't into Polyphia yet, and it's just
the thing is, in the guitar world, as I'm sure you know, there's a lot of like bitter old dudes who just like to keyboard warrior everything, and I'd really like to cut through that noise and just be like, just listen to a great track, please.
Yeah.
they produce them in abundance.
Exactly. And the thing about Polyphia is that they own it so good. They made their own genre almost. It's just like sound, and it's completely their own. Gotta give them credit where it's due. Very innovative players, should I say. Very innovative.
It reminds me of, some of my dearest friends in the world are in the band Periphery, right?
Yes.
I have a band with Spencer, the vocalist, and I've known all those guys forever. It reminds me of when Periphery burst onto the scene. It's kind of like Polyphia now, suddenly everyone's like, what is this new sound, Mm-hmm. And that's only going to happen once a decade, or maybe a couple of times a decade. And I think we're at that moment now, with the new bluegrass revolution happening, and the new kind of Polyphia electric guitar, kind of whatever genre you call that, revolution. And it's a really exciting time to be a guitar player, because suddenly so many more people are coming to the instrument, right? And so many more people want to learn to play, which, we've spent the past sort of half a decade reading articles like the guitar is dead, no one plays guitar anymore. And now we have, the next kind of movement, which is great. Super exciting. Love it.
It's awesome. You're right. It's totally doing a complete 180, because you're right. Like there was a time where people were like, oh, guitar is dead. But now guitar really is making a forefront in, I think, again, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, but
it's cool again, Cait.
Okay. And even people like BB Rexa, like the bigger pop stars that are in the mainstream, are getting so involved in the guitar community. For example, Kiki Wong, and really just branching out. And Willow Smith.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Willow's a really good example. Yeah. I think what we're gonna see now in like 2023, 2024 is like every major pop act will have a song with like Polyphia style guitar on it.
Yes.
Like that's probably what's gonna happen. And then people are gonna get very, very sick of it. But as in the same way where there's lots of like gent band imitators, there's only one like Periphery, and you know what I mean. I think that's gonna consistently be the thing. And the trick is the songwriting. Like you can have a million shit hot guitar players running rings around all these big bands, but if you don't have the songs, then then what's the point?
Yeah.
Someone says the guitar has always been cool. Yes, I agree, but I've not ever been cool, so I don't really have any skin in the game there. But yeah,
very much.
Hello, everybody.
But like, let's talk about you again for a second in terms of your songwriting, because yes, Polyphia are great songwriters, etc., etc. But you know, you are a very unique dude as well. So,
Unique dude.
about writing, how do you go about writing your stuff? And how
Well, it's
combining acoustic and electric.
yeah. Well,
Kind of see.
well, that whole the shred collab electric and acoustic thing was very intentional because it's a shred collab, and Jared slid into my DMs and was like, "Come be on this shred collab," and I was like, "But I'm an acoustic guitar player. Like, why?" So I wanted to kind of like do both, and then he sent over these like metal core like backing tracks, and I was like, okay, I could play electric guitar with it, but what if like the style I play on the acoustic guitar is a very one man band? You know, it's like there's the melody, the harmony, the bass, the percussion, all of that together. So that's the thought process behind it, was to kind of be the band and then shred on top, you know. But instead of shredding on top, you have the advantage of tailoring the melodies and the tunes and the harmonies so that they work together, and it's not just, you know, two instruments, it's one band, you know. But in terms of my writing, usually there's I won't go into too much detail because, like you say, these aren't massively long things. In fact, if anyone wants more information, I do have a bunch of tuition stuff on my website that goes into way more detail. But there's basically 5 ways that I write a tune on acoustic guitar. And to touch on them very briefly, there's melody first. So coming up with a melody first and then harmonizing that and then filling everything out. So you start with the melody, then the harmony, and then everything in the middle just gets filled. There's, new tunings are a great source of inspiration. So just trying out a new tuning, fiddling around until you get some sort of hook, then kind of tying a lasso around it and just letting it take you where it wants to go. And then there's more kind of conceptual approaches to writing where you'll have like a rhythmic theme or perhaps a polymetric idea, a polyrhythmic idea, and you kind of follow that. But try and make it, you know, like a hook. A really good thing to do is to write away from the guitar, you know, write on a keyboard. If you're writing on a keyboard or a piano, you're going to get a great hook because everything is just there. It's such a wonderful instrument to write on. There's one of every note in every octave, so you can't really go wrong. You know, it's just I appreciate the interface of keyboards. You know, so I'd encourage all guitar players to write away from the guitar. I think that's what the Polyphia guys do. You know, they'll write their hooks on keyboards and then learn them on guitar, and that's a testament to, you know, the hookery, the hook smithery of the band and the like. Yeah.
Love that.
There we go. Those are the cliff notes.
Nice. I agree with the piano thing 100%. It's all, for one, like you said, it's all laid out. It's right there. And also, I just got a guitar yesterday, so that's awesome. Yeah.
It's wild because on the Shred collab, I'm playing the guitar like a keyboard. So if you have a guitar, I'll have a Git board. That's what that was playing. So that kicks. If you haven't seen the Shred collab video, people watching, you'll see what I mean. You know, playing it like a keyboard, something I used to do about 15 years ago actually, but I never actually released anything like it. So I've had too much coffee. I'm talking way too much.
No, you're cool. I do the same thing. Usually when I plan out these interviews to be like 15 minutes, they end up, I mean, Michael and I ended up chatting, I want to say like 58 minutes or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we won't go that long though, don't worry. We do have a question here, that says, when you arrange or compose a song, how do you choose a chord progression, which we were just talking about, the keyboard kind of thing, but
well, the chord progressions, you can lift chord progressions from so many different sources. You can take a chord progression from a pop song that you really like and then, you know, try that with the melody that you've written. And that's another reason the keyboard interface is good, because you can just try it. You know, if you don't play any musical instrument, you could just use your fingers and go beep, 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 and beep, 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 beep. And if it sounds good to you and it sticks in your head, learn it on the guitar and fill it in. And the tuning will facilitate that. So every song I do is in a different tuning, more or less. So you can experiment with that palette, you know, after you've come up with your hook. So you know it's not going to be just writing in the box, you know.
Great advice. 100% great advice, because alongside the tuning thing, I feel like if you keep yourself in standard all the time, it might get a little bit boxy after a while.
I mean, it's very easy for, I mean, if you're like good, like Alan Holdsworth or something like that, you know, you don't. In fact, I'm just about to do a US tour in February on the East Coast, actually, the East Coast. So I don't know if there's any upstate New York shows, but around there. But the guy who's opening the shows, Trevor Gordon Hall, incredible fingerstyle player, but everything he does is in standard. and he made the conscious choice to not do the alternate tuning thing and to try and work everything in standards. So he's come up with some really creative chord voicings, so it doesn't sound like standard tuning at all. Another great, so
Cool.
that's another interesting exercise. Maybe take a track from an altered tuning and then learn it in standard, and then that'll like expand your vocabulary in standard.
That is also true. Definitely. Could also maybe stretch your fingers out a bit. If you're doing something in standard, the riffs will be different.
Exactly.
Obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah. Put some more brain crinkles. That's always good.
Brain crinkles. That's it.
Maybe 3 more fan questions or so. I only have one more question, which I guess we can hear. Is there anybody on the Shred collab, which I'm sure there's many, that you will be collaborating with in the future, or anybody you want to shout out from the collab?
From the collab, I'm trying to remember who was in it because there's so many players in it, wasn't there?
36 minutes long, so there's definitely a lot.
I gotta be a brother of the granddad guitar. I've got to shout out my acoustic brethren, my acoustical boys. So who do we have? We had Luca, we had Marcin, and we had Alan. And I love all those guys. Great dudes. I played with Luca a few times. We played in Rome together before. We did a workshop together in Austria in the Alps before. Super lovely human. Love. I heard he just moved to Nashville, which is super exciting. So I hope to catch up with him next time I'm over there.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And I interviewed him right before you, and he was talking about moving to Nash and stuff like that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, and he's a great dude, like super, super sweet, very giving, very lovely guy. Same with Marcin, super, super sweet guy. We met in Boston after one of my shows, and then he ripped my pants. So hashtag Marcin ripped my pants, everybody. And Alan, we've never met because he lives on the other side of the planet, but wonderfully unique player. So shout out to all those guys, the acoustic brethren of the Shred collab.
Yes, the acoustic players out there. Mike gives you a huge shout out, and crazy acoustic players. I love how you shouted out Luca because he's Luca. He's great.
Yeah, he's great. All these. You know what? I should shout out the whole country of Italy, because the genius guitar players that Italy produces is insane. That they must have like more genius guitar players per capita than like any other country. I mean, my first acoustic show I ever went to was Antonio Forcioni. Then there's I did a whole bunch of shows in US and Canada with Pino Forestieri. I'm butchering these pronunciations for any Italians in the stream here. But yeah, awesome. I'm actually going to be going to Italy in March with Tommy Emmanuel. We're doing a whole tour of these like ancient theaters. It's going to be so freaking cool. So if there's any Italians there, come say hey. That's like a late March Italy run with Tommy. It's going to be a good time.
That's awesome, yo. That's so cool. Yeah,
it's going to be a fun one.
Those ones, because that's going to be going to be a
yeah, it's going to be epic. Are you touring at all? Can I come and see you play sometime?
I am going to be, I was just telling Luca this, that I'm going to be in Nashville with Grace Bowers. And I can't pronounce her name, Laylee Kilgore. She has a band. But
okay, sick.
Grace is going to be headlining because she does that all the time in Nash. But that is May 12th.
Okay, I might be in town. I don't know. I'm definitely going to be in the US then. So if I'm in Nashville, I'll swing by. I'm going to be mixing my album in Nashville at some point. So if I'm in town at the same time, we must meet up because I've never met you in real life. So we should meet up for sure.
Yeah, sure. I want to get like a shred brunch together or something like
a shred brunch, a shred latte. Yeah,
that'd be so fun. But yeah,
very East Nashville.
Boston. I'm going to be going to the UK later in 2023. Sick. Hopefully get
awesome.
Together then. But
nice,
yes, we did have a really good question that I'm going to take only 2 more, you guys, so make sure you type them on in. It was a really good one. Let's see. Sorry, there's like so many here. Sarthak
Bless you guys.
Udgall says, how do you do polyrhythmic patterns? I'm trying to figure it out a bit more. So I guess any little bit of advice on the...
Yeah, for sure. So the I guess what this person is referring to is maybe the act of like one hand or one part of a hand playing in one time field, and then another hand doing a different one, you know, like patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time. It's actually way easier than people think. Or I find it easier. The reason is that I delegate one of the hands to muscle memory. You create the illusion that you're somehow splitting your mind in two and thinking about two different things. But if you ask any drummer, they'll tell you that's not the case. You just kind of learn the groove and delegate one of the hands to muscle memory, you know, and you're consciously either completely lost in the groove and in the moment, or you're focusing on one specific thing, you know. So what I would do is I would write out the part that you're trying to learn on Guitar Pro, the software, slow it down, press play, put it on a loop and learn how it sounds, make sure that it actually sounds good, because the worst thing to do is to commit to learning something, work on it for days, and then it just not be a good sounding piece of music. But because you put the investment of time in, you just convince yourself it's good, right? Listen to it, make sure it's good, but then just learn it beat by beat. You know, this hand's doing this hand's doing this. Next beat, this hand's doing this hand's doing this, you know, and just learn it like anything else. And then when it comes to performing it, enjoy it just by focusing on one of the hands, and the muscle memory should do the rest.
Great answer there, especially.
That's the theory.
Yeah. You know, I agree. You know, you just got to practice something 100 times over like that, and
hopefully, yeah, like anything really,
will do the talking after a while. Yeah. 100%. We got some people from India here. So cool.
I love my Indian people. They are awesome. There's an abnormal amount of Mike Dawes listeners in India, and I've never been, and I really want to go. And I had a festival in India that I was going to book.
Yeah.
20, and then the pandemic happened. And it got cancelled.
Sorry,
I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Hello, Indian people. I love you.
I bet it'll get rescheduled sometime in the future for sure. We got a lot of smart folk in this chat too. Y'all are very smart. You seem.
Y'all are very smart. I love it.
Seem like you know what you're talking about, for sure. We're gonna take one more question here because this is a good one. This is from Monkey Business, who says, "What?"
I'm sorry, we got a lot of y'all are so smart. Anyway, Monkey Business with the chat. Sorry.
And I totally butcher your username, so I do apologize. What are your top 3 compositional music theory ideas? Or I guess he's asking, like, what are your top 3 go-to music theory ideas? I have no idea.
I mean, so everything can be consolidated into, from what I do is I play in a lot of different tunings so that the fretboard gets reset from a visual standpoint, right? So that sounds like something that's difficult and complicated, but it's not if you train yourself from a listening standpoint. So if you can learn your intervals, it will speed up the process for writing in alternate tunings so much, because you're going to just know where to put your fingers way quicker than if you're just guessing, you know? And so much of the process is about efficiency. Like if you have an idea, you want to just like get it down and figure it out as quickly as possible. So the more that you know your intervals and you practice that, the quicker that'll be. So that's such a huge part of what I'm trying to do, and a tool that I actually actively use. That's the most important thing. Use your ear. And also, this isn't a music theory thing, but this is more of a cultural commentary thing. Try not to use your eyes to write music, you know, because the stuff that people listen to and the stuff that people enjoy at concerts is the stuff that hits them here, you know, and that's not pyrotechnics all the time. You know, I have a lot of like pyrotechnic pieces, and like I go out on tour with Tommy Emmanuel a lot, who is like, he exemplifies this actually. Someone that can absolutely put your jaw on the floor, but also make you cry with a song about his dad. You know, you have to write music to touch people here, and that transcends the current social media landscape. So, you know, a lot of the kind of pyrotechnic-y looking things that people do, you know, it's used to serve a piece of music at the end of the day. So when you're writing music, if you just remember that and see if you can whistle your song when you're walking down the street on the way to get a coffee to carry on writing, that's a good sign, you know. So just really your ear is everything. So absolutely trust the ear intervals. Ear and intervals. There we go. That's
ear. You got it.
Exactly.
Both things, everybody. Make sure you remember. 100%.
It's important. It'll help you. It will really, really help you.
Yeah, and I love what you said about, you know, it's great to be technical, but also to make people feel something emotionally. That's also the core of what music is. And Mikey Demus was saying something very similar. You know, I mean, his licks are all about making people...
Who, sorry?
Mikey Demus.
Oh, from Skindred.
Yeah.
Well, so Dan, the bass player from Skindred, lives like the bass player from his band lives a few houses over that way from where I am right now.
Yeah, it seems
insanely small world.
Everybody in the UK that I've like kind of talked to is like in the same proximity, so that's
yeah. I mean, the UK is like smaller than New York State. Smaller than New York State. Yeah, it's wild.
That way. That's awesome, though. I had such an awesome time talking to you. Thank you for coming on for a quick interview here.
Thank you for having me, and I'm glad you like the shred collab. And thanks for inviting me to your shred collabs, because we did 2 of those. You guys got to check that out on YouTube with Michelangelo Basio and all those cats. It was great.
Those are called the Shredding for Hope collabs, everybody. Those are different from the legendary Jared Dines collabs. Those are like the There With Care ones, charity, stuff like that I did with Bradley Hall. But for now, I'm just helping support the people on the Jared Dines one and getting some word out about some great... So be sure to follow my, all that good stuff. And yeah, take care. Happy New Year. Check out the collab.
Happy New Year to you. Thanks for having me, and thanks for coming, guys, and see you guys out there soon.
Cheers. Have a good one, everybody.